What is something you did that increased your quality of life so much that you wished you would have done it much sooner because it changed your life forever?
Quit a job I absolutely hated. Where I was before, workplace culture was come in early, work through breaks and lunch, work late, benefits were meh, and vacation time was capped at 3 weeks, no pension. Pay was okay though. Now, it's a 7 hours work day, pension, decent benefits, 5 weeks vacation and zero stress job. It's been 10 years, I still don't make as much, but the work-life balance blows that out of the water, not to mention I won't be working until I am 60.
Stopped assuming that people's thoughts about me were at all similar to that extremely critical voice in my head. It's still somewhat of a struggle to stay positive, but overall, being yourself and staying present when with others really reduces anxiety. Peaceful would be a good word to describe it.
Regulating my alcohol intake, paying attention in general to how my body reacts to what I introduce it to.
Applying for a job I didn't think I was qualified for. It doubled my salary and let me move to a place I'd only ever dreamed of living in.
Doing my research on nutrition and making myself a decent breakfast.
If someone asks me to do something and it will take me 5 minutes or less to do it, I'll do it immediately. It doesn't sound like a lot, but I never realized how much stuff I put off until later and then promptly forgot about. Also, once you've done one 5-minute task, it's easier to just go and do the next. I became much more productive and saved myself a lot of time and effort at the same time.
Buying all the same socks. No more folding, no more matching, no more looking for missing sock bros. Just throw them all in a drawer, reach in, grab 2 and get your day started right.
Not being afraid to admit when I'm wrong. For years, I was obsessed with being correct about everything. This semester, one of my professors said that it's okay if we are not experts in the material yet. From then on, I've actually been better at admitting when I do not know an answer or saying the wrong answer in class without cringing, hating myself.
Preventative physio. Edit. Since everyone's asking, I went to see a physiotherapist. Anyone have advice on how to find a good physio so I can add it in here? I'm 31, in decent shape, and never had any serious injuries. However, my family has a history of back and knee problems, and my knees and shoulders have been a consistent issue. I used to teach snowboarding, and gave it up cause my knees were always inflamed. Long-haul flights became prohibitively painful cause of my shoulders and knees. It got bad enough that I struggled to play long board games, cause I'd usually have a totally cramped shoulder and inflamed knee from sitting still, looking down too long. It built up so slowly though that I just gradually accepted it. Finally went to see someone when my shoulders were particularly stiff and painful. Turns out my feet rolled inwards, supination I think? Edit. It's pronation. I had really inflexible hamstrings causing my hip to be massively rolled forwards, and I walk with my head jutted like an inch more forward than is healthy. Spent £100 and 2 hours there, one being assessed, one being taught corrective exercises, and 2 months later all my knee and shoulder problems have disappeared. I'm actually shocked at how much joint pain I'd just gradually accepted and forgotten was a problem. I wish I'd gone sooner. Once I have some more cash, I'm definitely getting back on a snowboard. I seriously missed it.
Making decisions based on what I really want, not on what I think others want or expect of me. It was always so easy to put others' needs first, because it meant that I never had to take the trouble to figure out what I really wanted, or to negotiate with others to get it. Just go along with everyone else, that's easy and makes you likable. But it doesn't make you happy, because it means your needs are often not being met. The real turning point for me was the realization that wanting something does not instantly equate to a decision to go out and get it. Verbalizing a desire is not tantamount to forcing your will on others. For example, if someone asks you what you want to eat, instead of saying, "Oh, whatever you want, I don't mind," there's nothing wrong with stating your preference, saying that you're open to other ideas and entering into a negotiation to find some common ground. People actually appreciate you being clear about what you want, it makes things easier for everyone. For bigger stuff, once you realize you want something, sit with it for a bit. Then ask yourself, how moral do I think my desire is? Can I proceed without damaging my integrity? What are the practical, other ramifications for myself and others? Can you live with whatever decision you make? If you are missing vital information from others, ask them for it to help you decide. Most importantly, don't waste time wondering about whether you're allowed to want something. You do already, so that's that. Just acknowledge the desire, then set about deciding whether you're going to go out and get it. That way, even if you decide not to, you'll know what the desire is and why you're not fulfilling it, rather than shutting it down automatically at the source. I'm so much happier now. Edit, wow. I made this comment, went to bed, and woke up to platinum, gold, silver and 11K upvotes. Thanks everybody so much. Some people below have asked what turned me around, how long it took, etc. There is definitely a story, so I'll tell it below for some context. I'm a born and raised Australian, and had been living in the Netherlands for 4 years. Life was getting me down, I'd lost my boyfriend, wasn't enjoying my work, and there was stuff about Holland I didn't like. So I decided to move back home, and began making plans. One thing I did to prepare for the move was stop working in-house and start working freelance, also great advice IMO. This actually solved about 80% of the problem. After that I was pretty happy again and had no real desire to leave. But I had told all my family and friends I was coming back and I felt like I would be disappointing them by changing my mind. I didn't actually ask them or talk to them about it, I just assumed that was what they thought. So, with a sense of dread in the pit of my stomach, I went anyway. Back in Australia, I quickly became depressed, anxious and sick. I was sleeping all the time, didn't enjoy my hobbies anymore, I even got exhausted singing. I had been a choral tenor for about a decade. There's a comment below about living someone else's life. That's exactly how it felt. So I sought help from a psychologist, eventually figured out what had happened, and decided to go back to Holland. That fixed it. The day I returned was one of the most glorious in my whole life. I felt so happy and exhilarated and ready to pick up where I left off. At some point during all this I thought, if I am capable of uprooting my life because of what I think others want me to do, then something has to change. Being a people pleaser might start with dinners and movies, but it can end with emigration. That's fucked. Fortunately, the solution works the same way. Starting with the little things will help you work up to the big things. Once the switch is flipped, once you realize how important it really is, it will affect the millions of tiny decisions you make every day, and your life will gradually start shifting in a different direction. Sometimes I'm annoyed at myself that I had to go through all this to make the change. On the other hand, I now know how to recognize how I feel when I'm going against my wishes just to please other people, and can take steps to avoid having to go through it all again. Thanks once more for the overwhelming response. I wish everybody all the best.
To just chill out. 90% of the time, I mess things up not because they were difficult or impossible, but because of my own anxiety and perfectionism that led to procrastination. Honestly, just chill the F out. You're a small stardust skeleton in a huge universe, stop being dramatic.
Admitting that I needed a therapist. As a teenager with strict parents, if I was caught saying anything against them I was automatically grounded, so I couldn't let out my emotions and I felt like a double agent in my own house. With a therapist, I could work through my problems without the risk of being in trouble.